بسند صحيح عن النعمان بن بشير رضي الله عنه قال. Hadith in a collection Imam. You find different wordings for it in different books. You know, they all have an authentic chain, and it's narrated to us by Nu'man ibn Bashir. And this is probably the final hadith that I'll narrate regarding the human side of the Prophet ﷺ's life. It's a very interesting topic, and there's a lot to talk about, and just for the sake of kind of moving on to different things, I'm going to end it with this one. And this is an example of the Prophet ﷺ as a husband. And there's many of them. This is my favorite story. And this is what Nu'man ibn Bashir witnessed or saw. قال أتى أبو بكر إلى بيت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فاستأذن. Abu Bakr came to the house of the Prophet ﷺ, and he asked for permission to enter. He knocked on the door, or he stood. Now he's not going to any house, he's going to the house of his daughter, which is Sayyida Aisha, المؤمنين رضي الله عنها. قال فسمع عائشة رافعة صوتها على رسول الله عليه الصلاة والسلام. So as he's coming close to the door to knock on the door and ask for permission, he hears Aisha's voice being raised above the voice of the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام. She hears her yelling, basically. He hears his daughter inside her home yelling at her husband, or as they do often. So he hears this. فاستأذن, they asked for permission. قال فأذن له, and he was granted permission. The door was open. فذهب إلى عائشة يتناولها. So he goes straight to Aisha. He wants to strangle her. قال فحال بينها وبينه رسول الله عليه الصلاة والسلام. So the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام stood in front of Abu Bakr. يقول أبو بكر يا ابنة أم رومان أترفعين صوتك على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. So his wife, one of it, is Roman, رضي الله عنها, and she is the mother of Aisha. So as all parents do, whenever their children are misbehaving, they're your kid. So at that moment, it wasn't my daughter, it's the daughter of Roman. He didn't like what she was doing. فَيَبْنَةَ أُمِّ رُومَانٍ is what he said, the daughter of my wife. Do you dare to raise your voice above the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام? قال ثم انصرف أبو بكر. The Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام is standing there, saying, calm down. Abu Bakr leaves, and he leaves upset. يقول فالتفت النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم إلى عائشة فقال أرأيت كيف حلت بينك وبين الرجل. And he said, you see how I protected you from the man? قال فترضاها فرضيت. ترضاها, he looked for her satisfaction or her رضا. رضا is when someone is content or happy, and she was upset with something. فترضاها, and he found a way to make her feel better. فرضيت, she was happy. قال فعاد أبو Bakr, after he left for a while, he came back. فاستأذن, he asked for permission. فأذن له, or أذن له, he was granted permission. قال فإذا برسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعائشة يتضاحكان, and the Prophet عليه الصلاة والسلام and Aisha are laughing, and فقال رضي الله عنه أدخلاني أو أشركاني في سلمكما كما أشركتماني في حربكما. Allow me to be a part of your peace as you brought me into your war before. And this is it's a simple story, really. There's not much to it. It's a beautiful story. But it just shows, the Prophet ﷺ was very, very good. I don't know how he did it, and I still can't fully wrap my head around it, but it's a very unique skill that he had, where he was able to distinguish the hats that he wore from one another. He didn't mix them up. He wore many hats in his life, ﷺ, rightfully so. The hat of the leader of the city, the commander of the army, the prophet of the ummah, the friend, the role model, the counselor, and the husband. There's a lot of things he had to do all at once, ﷺ, in different situations. And it's easy for you to get comfortable with one hat and decide that that's going to be your hat. That's who I'm going to be, for everybody. But he was so good at doing this, ﷺ, that he makes it seem effortless. So we get, we don't think about it. We just listen to the story, as in whatever. I remember there used to be older men in the city, the village I grew up in, who were either the Mukhtar or he was someone of some degree of status within a small village that no one's ever heard of and no one will ever hear of, and there's nothing, it never did anything that was worth putting it on the map to begin with. But yet this man, because he was the Mukhtar, no one could speak to him without addressing him in a certain way, not even his wife. And even his wife, she wouldn't dare speak to him. And I always looked at that and said, it made no sense to me. Like you're the Mukhtar to us outside, but then in the house you're just her husband, or you're just their father. And the Prophet ﷺ had no problem. The flexibility and the ease through which he kind of moved around from being one person, from one role to the other, is absolutely, is astonishing, really. So he's in his house, and his wife is yelling at him. The same person who sees him as Rasulullah ﷺ outside of this predicament, who is going to ask him for his shafa'ah yawm al-qiyamah, who sees him as the best. Like she sees that, radiallahu anha, but at that moment, that's not what she's talking to. She's not talking to the Rasul ﷺ. She's talking to her husband. And he didn't say, well, how dare you, Ana Rasulullah. How dare you, he could have said anything. I am much older than you. I am your father's friend. I am the leader of the city. I have an army at my feet. Like any of this stuff he could have used, but nothing, none of it. This is life. He is now a husband. That's nothing else. He plays no other role. He does not bring his prophecy into the home. He doesn't bring you're a physician. You're a doctor, bil mustashfa, you're a doctor. At the house, you're just a husband. Barely even, most of the time. Like, you don't have any other, you can't come in and say, you will address me as doctor, because no, you can't do that. Same thing as if you're a teacher or a lawyer or whatever you are, you can't bring that into the house. You can't bring that to your kids. To your kids, you're not a physician or a lawyer, you're Baba. You have to be that. And with your friends, see, people, the mistakes they make is that they don't understand how to distinguish. So a friend that they've had since childhood, right, they don't understand that you're just their friend. They know things about you that you don't want any of them to tell anybody. Like you were there when you were kids together. So yes, you've become the prime minister or the head of this or the CEO of that, but to him, you're just his friend. So when you sit with him, go back to being his friend. Don't sit there as a CEO of whatever. And that's why friends feel bad, like this person has changed. And they're right. Really all that happened is that this guy is not good at changing roles quickly. He was, alayhi salatu wasalam. He was the master of this. No problem. Abu Bakr couldn't even do it. Abu Bakr is like, how dare you raise your voice to Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. Because to him, and she's in her mind, Aisha's like, but he's my husband. And I'm upset with him. And I need to vent, and I need to, right? For him, he couldn't see that. But the Prophet alayhi salatu was like, that's fine. Of course, she's my wife. We're going to have these things. It's nothing. He never felt that this was something that should not happen because he is whoever. He is, alayhi salatu wasalam. Who is he? هل أرفع منه عليه الصلاة والسلام؟ هل أعلى منه مقاما؟ هل أجل منه قدرا؟ هل أحب إلى الله منه أحد? Anyone who's even close to his rank in any way, عليه الصلاة والسلام. Anything. He's a human being levitating somewhere between us, and he's the highest ranked human being that ever lived, عليه الصلاة والسلام. No problem. And that to me is, I want to end this, this theme of his human side, alayhi salatu wasalam. He played all these roles. That's how you could see him playing with a kid on the street, or talking to an old lady about her problems, or just sitting there, or just taking a walk, or getting on his donkey, just strolling for a while. And because he was a human being, he never allowed himself to believe he was something different. See, it's easy when and people are saying, يا شيخ دكتور مش عارف other thing يا باشا يا خواجة they make, after a while you start believing it. You start believing, yes, everyone seems to say it to me, I must be that. No, you're not. No, you're not. You know who you are. You know where you came from, what you're late. What are you doing? Who are you lying to? And he never did, alayhi salatu wasalam. That is something you have to learn from him. You have to learn that piece from him, because that's a part of, that's character. That's character. That's big. Men, a lot of men, the fall of the demise of men. The fall from a fight is when they don't know how to do this. They don't know how to put themselves in the right position when they're within that. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. عجيب والله. يروي الإمام أحمد في مسنده بسند صحيح عن النعمان بن بشير رضي الله عنه قال: أتى أبو بكر يستأذن للدخول على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فأذن له فإذا بعائشة رافعة صوتها على رسول الله فدخل أبو بكر يتناولها فحال بينه وبينها رسول الله عليه الصلاة والسلام قال: يا ابنة أم رومان أترفعين صوتك على رسول الله؟ فانصرف. فقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يا عائشة أرأيتك كيف حلت بينك وبين الرجل؟ قال فعاد أبو بكر يستأذن فأذن له فإذا برسول الله وعائشة يتضاحكان، فقال رضي الله عنه أشركاني في سلمكما كما أشركتما